Yes and no. So the interesting thing about the Mahele is that the Hawaiians transitioned to private property without maps. Place name only. You got Kailua, you got Waimanalo, you got Waikiki, you got Mauna Lua, you got... We all knew where those places were. Didn't need a map, right? And this is where you have to think for a second now. If you're a missionary and you're imposing your system, why are you using Hawaiian place names? They did not do that in Britain. They didn't do that to the Maori. They didn't do that to the Native Americans. They didn't do that for First Nations. They came in, imposed their system, right? Why are they not imposing their system here? Oh, because they're not in control. Oh, because they didn't do the Mahele, right? And this is where all, how do I say this on camera? There are many, 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 many fundamental assumptions that majority of the Hawaiian public have today about the Mahele that are wrong, right? Mahele, foreign imposition. If I'm the state of Hawaii, I want you to believe the Mahele was a foreign imposition. I want you to believe that foreigners imposed the Mahele. I want you to believe that the Mahele didn't save anything for you, didn't preserve, didn't give you any of those fleas that are bothering us today. The sooner you forget and disassociate with the Mahele, the easier it is for me to now do what I want to do on the land, right? We shoot ourselves in the foot by not interrogating those assumptions, right? If the Mahele was a foreign imposition, why Hawaiian place names? Why does my title report go back to a ahupua'a in a moku in an island? Why doesn't it go to the southwest corner of the northeast corner of the northeast corner of this township in this range? That's the American system, township and range. Why didn't they impose that here? They imposed it in New Zealand. They imposed it in America, North America. They imposed it everywhere else. Well, Hawaii has its system because we were a country 1843. November 28th, 1843, Hawaii becomes a country. We're running the show. And that's the fundamental assumption that we've got backwards, right? That's what Keanu Sai has brought to light with the Hawaii's recognition as a country, right? Occupation and all of that. That perspective challenges those assumptions. And when you challenge those assumptions, you start to see what our ancestors were doing and what our ancestors left us, right? Half the things we're fighting for, our ancestors left us. Everything we're fighting for in land, preserved in law. Hawaiian Kingdom law, I can show you all the court cases, right? But we assume it's not ours, we don't look. Why am I going to read those court cases? It's not ours. It's foreign imposed. Got you, right? Got you. I want you to believe and disassociate from your own history. Because between 1843 and 1893, that history's ours. We have been taught to think somebody else gave it to us, but we are now rediscovering that's ours, right? And you see that bubbling to the surface everywhere now, right? But you still have this underlying thread of, I'm repeating the story that I heard, Mahele is bad, Mahele this, Mahele is that, right?
Where, as Brother Donovan shared, here's the sovereign king, Kauai, who's going to privatize land in that process. And he gives land out to the government, 1/3 interest, vested rights, 1/3 to the ali'i, and 1/3 to whom? The hoa'aina, so-called maka'ainana, are given a 1/3 interest. In which lands? Which lands? All lands. I want you guys to understand this. Here's the sovereign king, and he's going to give. He is the owner, controller of all these lands, and he's going to give the common people an interest in all lands. They did that in England. Huh? They did that in England, France, Germany, Russia. You want to talk humanity? 1840, the first Hawaiian Constitution, signed by Kekauanohi, a female. That's right. We don't have, weird kind of things about perhaps females can or cannot be part of leading the government politically. This is 1840. Kekauanohi signs the Hawaiian Kingdom Constitution. Female in Hawaii. It also says, and I don't have the exact quote in my brain, that all men are created equal, all bloods. In the Hawaiian Constitution, who was equal? Everybody. Slavery was banned. Now you want to compare it to the United States in 1840? Huh? You think they brought equality to us? That's foolishness. 1840, slavery was still going strong. They just began the genocidal campaigns against American Indians, just getting into the so-called plains. In fact, you can look at their own history. You want to go read? Go read. People like George Washington and the amount of slaves he had. In fact, most of the so-called writers of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were wealthy white men with slaves. And people talk about those documents as if it came from God himself. I don't know what God had anything to do with slave owners, but that's a sickness that they have in saying and thinking that way. You can look at Thomas Jefferson. Oh yeah, the great writer himself. Go read Thomas Jefferson and go to Google now. You can go check it out yourself. When under Thomas Jefferson, more Native Americans were murdered and killed than any U.S. president. In fact, Thomas Jefferson himself says these words: "We shall exterminate them all the way to the Mississippi." What word again? Exterminate. Who does it sound like? And they teach us bad Hitler? Huh? Who the hell you think Thomas Jefferson was? Go read him yourself. And they put him on a $2 bill. That's Thomas Jefferson. Yeah. He had relations with one of his own slaves, Sally Hemings, which he had children with. And some of those children were later sold as slaves. Think about that crazy shit. And you're going to honor Thomas Jefferson as some great humanitarian? See, my point is, that sickness came here. We did not learn equality from them. Equality was taken from us. You want to talk about health care? Let's go talk Queen Emma, Kamehameha IV, who went around not just with their own lands and resources, took change and pennies and coinage from all the commoners to create the first hospital for whom? That's right. We never had universal health care taught to us by the Americans. So you can understand this. And they talk about somehow we should be blessed by what they gave us. They didn't give us crap. It's what they took from us we have to understand.
In this particular paradigm, the Hawaiian Kingdom is a source of empowerment, not just historically, but also today as well too, right? It's not a place where we need to revisit and be sad, right? It's a place that actually, when you look a little closer and the truth reveals itself, you see those moments in history, different moments in history, as important. You see different individuals in history in a different light, not as victims of colonialism, but as powerful agents of change in a time where you have nearly every single imperial force weighing down its might in the Pacific, right? How is it that the Hawaiian Kingdom evades colonialism, if you will, in the 19th century? Well, it's because we were paying attention, right? Hawaiians were engaged with politics. Hawaiians were conscious of the domestic politics that were happening, right, in their particular region, right, in their particular locale. But if you read the newspapers, they were also very cognizant of what's happening in the world, right? And Hawaii saw itself, right, as a part of the world.